Hello and welcome to Your Neighborhood Show. This is episode 25 and it is the last episode in this series. And we're very lucky to have our guest today. Her name is Lisa Dibb. I met Lisa at a recent neighbor gathering in Maruka where I live. And as we were chatting, she was telling me about her mum and how her mum used to invite neighbors in. And of course, my ears pricked up when I hear anything about connecting people. And I said, Lisa, will you be on my podcast? And she says, yes. And so that's how I invited her to come here. But in conversation, I discovered that she was also one of the stories that Trent Dalton, whom we all love, is as part of his Love Stories book and play. So that's who we have in front of us today. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
It's such a delight to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
And just one more thing, Lisa's also, for many people who will be listening who are locals, Lisa and her husband Steve own Steve Dibb Jewelry.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Stephen Dibb Jewelry.
Stephen Dibb Jewelry. So there you go. Another little local fact. So welcome to the podcast, Lisa.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Yes. Good. We've had a lovely time already. Yeah.
Yes, and you're quite used to telling stories if you've been on Trent Dalton's.
Yes, told our story and that then it turned into the play.
Of course.
And friendship and probably everyone doesn't realise, but the people, the storytellers, as
Yes.
we're called in the love stories, we're all friends and we all socialise.
Isn't that amazing?
And Trent gets together with us on a reasonably regular basis. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a lovely connected group.
Yes. I know one other person who was in that group of stories that he told, and her husband was the owner of the Eco Village, Kerry.
Kerry.
Yes,
Oh,
because I bought the property from Chris, who had the accident. Yes.
Inspirational story. And she's gone on. She's gone on to do great things.
Yes, she's an amazing woman.
She is.
And my little son Damien, who was 7 at the time when I bought a property at the Eco Village, used to play with their son Finn on a couple of occasions when we visited. So yeah, there's a little bit more connection. And of course, I love Trent Dalton. So, but welcome.
Thank you.
And so how we normally do is we share a little bit about your childhood, and then we get stuck into your life as we go along. And so I'd like you to start off and tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, a bit about your siblings, your parents, family dynamic, school you went to.
Okay. Born in Warwick. My family moved to Ipswich and then to Brisbane. So I ended up living most of my life in Brisbane and went to Mount Gravatt East Primary School and then on to Mansfield High School. At the time, Mount Gravatt East was the second largest state school in the state. So for a country kid, it was a big thing. But I think we learnt a lot. Like, it was a very large and complex school. And then on to Mansfield, which I loved Mansfield High. I still have a lot of good friends.
Your primary school years was in Mansfield?
Yes, in Mansfield, but walking to the Mount Gravatt East State School.
Yes, and you mentioned before when you moved actually from Warwick to Brisbane, your experience in school was a little bit challenging. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think we were that seen but not heard, and we were country kids, and I had strict parents, and this kind of very, very large school, they had to be quite strict on us, and sometimes the teachers would be quite strong, and I took a little while to adjust to that because I was a bit shy, a bit like just overwhelmed with the sheer numbers of kids.
Yes. And when you went to high school, was that you said you were also the first cohort?
I was the second grade through, so there was always only one grade ahead, and we were all friends. So the grade above us, we were friends with the grade below us because there was so few of us. And then each year, so the school opened for students in 1974. And so we all the school slowly filled up grade by grade.
Yeah. And your younger years, I think you did mention to me that around the age of 12, mum and dad separated from each other.
Yes.
And that was, again, a little bit of a challenging time for you all.
Yes. Well, I think that they were always meant to not be together, and they struggled on for a lot of years. And although it was challenging when they split up, I think it was probably the best thing they did together was to go their separate ways. I think they both needed to do that. It was in the days where divorce just wasn't done. And so by the time they separated and divorced, they were in a fairly bad way. They'd done everything. They were both Christians. They both believed in marriage, and that marriage was forever. So, yeah. So it was probably pretty challenging, them splitting up, but probably for the best.
And how was that for you and your siblings?
I think it wasn't always easy because things were fractious. But it's like everything. We got through that, and we had a lot going for us. We lived in a nice place. We lived in a nice place. Yeah.
You want to just stop?
Yeah, I'm just going to stop.
You can just cut that, Luke.
Yeah, I'm so
You need
sorry.
to turn your phone off. Yeah. I should have told you. The first thing I do is turn it off. Can you put it into the next room? Yes. Because it'll send notifications and all those noises come. And they carry on, don't they? Yeah, if you just want to put it. Luke, can you cut that? Yeah. So where were we?
I think we were, well, you kind of said when I turned 12.
I said, how was that for you?
How was that for you? Yep. So you want me to start?
I'll start with, I'll start with, so your parents split. Take your mic back in.
Thank you.
Me too? No. So I remember you saying that around the age of 12, mum and dad split up, and you were still in primary school. So 12 is around the age of...
Yeah, I'd just gone to high school.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was in the first grade.
7?
Grade 8.
Right.
It was in those days. Look.
How was that for you and your siblings?
Oh, of course, it was a difficult time, and divorce was quite rare in those days. So my parents had, believed in marriage and divorce was rare, so they probably stuck it out too much. And I think really the best thing they ever did together was to go their separate ways, and it was better for all of them. But of course, to come to that point was very difficult. And then, as I said, divorce was quite rare at the time, and it was definitely a challenging time for everyone involved. Yeah.
Sometimes it is better. How many years were mum and dad together?
17 years.
Oh, that's a considerable amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah. But I know my marriage lasted 22 years, and when I look back, I think maybe if we definitely weren't getting along, and it would have been a much better idea to go our separate ways so that the children get impacted less. But unfortunately, because we make vows under oath, and we say until death do us part, that we have this notion that we should just stick with it, and you know what I mean? And sometimes it is better to just cut the...
Yeah. I think when it's not really going to work out and you know it in your heart, then I think just doing it as kindly as you can.
Yes.
And I honestly think that the children should be prioritised because adults, you've had a certain amount of input into it, but the children, they don't have any control over what's happening. So, yeah.
And then you had a childhood friend whom you're still in touch with, a younger, from the age of 5 or something?
Yeah. I'm just about to go walking with her again, my girlfriend Linny. She lived across the road, and then her family moved next door, and we've been friends for about 55, 56 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
We're just about to go with her new partner and my husband, and we're just about to walk the scenic rim walk, full on backpacks with everything on our backs, tents, the whole
Beautiful,
thing. Yeah.
beautiful. It's having a childhood friendship that matures it's not rare, but it is not often. We often change friends, and as we go along, and then if you move to another country or another place, you lose touch, and it just kind of we lose touch basically.
Yeah,
So
and we
to have
haven't
that
been in
length of
touch.
friendship.
We haven't been in touch that whole time, but when we come back together, it's always like we've just stopped. We were only together 5 minutes ago, and we just love doing the same things. And I think we just really love each other, I suppose, is the truth. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like
There's
we
history.
get each other.
Yeah.
We just get each other.
And is she in Brisbane?
No. She's out from Gladstone, on the beach kind of thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So then you moved to high school, to Mansfield High School, and you said you loved high school.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I loved high school. It was, I think I liked the fact that the school was smaller. We were also like an experimental, like a state government example of state schools. So we had very good facilities, and we tried a lot of experimental things where students taught the class different amounts of time in each class. So we'd have a 5-period day and a 9-period day, and we were allowed to provide feedback on that research. So I found all of that really interesting, and we had some genuinely fantastic teachers. It was a very good experience, and I was very fortunate. I had a lot of really good friends, and I think it was just a lovely place. And when we have our reunions, we all just still get along really well.
So good. So apart from mum and dad splitting, which you were about 12, and as you said, you recognized it was the best decision for the two of them, you've had a pretty good childhood.
Yeah.
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 And so then you finish high school and you're about 17 and you decide, actually you didn't finish high school.
No.
Tell me about that. What happened there and what did you decide to do?
1978, there was a very serious recession on, high unemployment, and I just couldn't see my future. There was, girls of my age, so we're talking 1978 again, there just wasn't a lot of options. You were a school teacher or a nurse, and I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher, and they were hiring 6% of the graduates, and I just thought that's too much. So I left school and got a job, and caught a bus to all of the florist shops that I could get to on the bus, and did that twice, and I got a job. Yeah.
So and how old were you?
I was 16.
Right, and you got a job as a florist.
Yes.
So, but you hadn't studied floristry.
No, because it's still not a trade, and there was no schools for it. You had to simply do training
Learn on the
within
job kind of thing.
Yeah, there are schools you can go to now.
And so how was that for you? How was your first job?
It wasn't great. They kind of said they'd train me, didn't train me, treated me pretty badly. I was very unhappy. I resigned after a year. They rang my mum, convinced her that they would train me and that they'd do the right thing. I worked there for another year, still no training. And then there was a design competition, and I got very good marks on. I was all just self-taught.
Yeah.
Very good marks for my technical skills, partially because I just put a lot of time in. And the boss's daughter said, "Go now, because they're just going to get meaner to you." It was just one of those, that mentality of you're at the bottom, and we need to make sure you're at the bottom, and
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was just...
Especially when it's your first job and a young 16-year-old.
And there was nothing
Not a great
to gain.
entry into the workforce.
There was nothing to gain. I didn't think I was, I just was a kid trying to get by in the world. So, yeah.
And you stuck with that for about a year?
No, 2 years all up.
Oh, you stayed in that job for 2 years. So you put up with stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, I used to cry a lot.
Wow.
And I used to cry at work. They still really didn't.
Like the young
yeah.
ones of today, if anybody treats them like that, they're gone.
Yeah,
I
well,
think in our days we kind of put up with it because we were just grateful to have a job, kind of thing. And as you said, in those days, women didn't have there weren't many career pathways.
No.
Even, yeah.
I don't think you had a lot of options, and I don't know whether the young ones are necessarily wrong. If you're getting really bad treatment,
Of
it's
course.
probably not going to
No,
improve.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You should absolutely have job satisfaction because if
Yeah.
you're not happy at work, you go
Yeah.
home and you carry the unhappiness back home.
But,
so
it was informative because both my husband and I had bad early jobs, and it's made us very dedicated to training. And it's made us very dedicated to treating our staff well. It doesn't cost anything to treat
Yes.
your staff well.
100%.
And it just makes it a happier, really fantastic space. So, and you attract great people. So it's just, like, it was a real life lesson on how not. A few things have happened to me in my life, and they've actually taught me how not to do something. So that was definitely how not to treat people.
Well, you've certainly taken your life lessons and learned a lot from it, and grown from it, which is a good thing. So then you left that job after 2 years, and did you go into another florist job?
Yeah, I went to another florist, and I ended up running their store, and like, it was a great experience. It wasn't perfect because no job is, but I got a lot out of that, and I really enjoyed the challenge of running my little business, my little store.
Yeah. So you had a bit more autonomy over how.
Yeah,
that
I had a
business-
lot of autonomy, and I'm very thankful that they recognised that. Yeah, I could. Well, they couldn't get people, so in the end they said, "Can you do this on your own?" And I went, "Sure."
A bit of a step up from the previous job.
Really different, a really different environment. Yeah.
And so you're about, how old are you there? About 20?
Yeah,
19?
I'm about 20.
Yeah. And then
19, 20.
Then you any boyfriends at that point?
Yeah, there was a boy on the scene
Right.
at that time. Yeah, I met a nice young man, and I married him, but it didn't work out.
Before you married.
Oh, okay. The boy before the boy I married. Yes. Well,
this is your first boyfriend.
Yeah,
yes?
my first boyfriend that I, really loved. Yes, and I have a bit of a laugh when people say they broke up on text because it's all relative, because after 2 years I didn't even get a text.
Wow.
I just got his landlady saying, "Please don't call again. He's run away with another girl to the Gold Coast." And it was like, oh, so that's how I found out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty awful actually.
And how was that for you?
Devastating, because I really loved him, and things hadn't been going perfectly, but it was only a relatively short while that it wasn't going perfectly. But I like to pride myself on thinking about where that other person was, and he did have a lot happening. But being,
But you were deeply in love with him, and
very much in love with him, and thought, and but it's like everything. At the time, it was absolutely devastating. And a lot of people were brokenhearted because a lot of people loved us together as a couple. Yeah.
And you've never seen him, or
I've never seen him again. I've had fleeting contact with him on social media. Yeah. And I don't think he I don't think he remembers it the way I remember it, because obviously I think we rewrite what we do that is wrong sometimes, and probably don't take the lesson from it if we rewrite it.
well,
Yeah.
the person that you fall in love with the first time, and when you said you were madly in love with him, and then you come from high up there and all the way down, would have been terrible, something terrible to go through. But you said you had friends that you could talk to around at the time.
I had friends.
How did you deal with that? Like, how did you come out of it?
Friendship.
Yeah.
I had friends that I hadn't, good tip, guys, don't dump all your friends, and I hadn't. I had stayed in contact with my friends, so I could pick that back up again. And
Don't dump your friends if you get a boyfriend.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't dump your friends, because I see people do that, and it's like, because it's not that people they're necessarily going to let you down, but you need those people
Yes.
for when the bumps happen in your life. Yeah.
They say girlfriends are very important to have around.
Yeah, I think just I was at that stage, it would have been guy friends as well. I had a lot of guy friends in high school who's still my friends and now. And so I was very fortunate that I had a support system around me with that. But it was also just I had to get up and go to work.
Exactly. You had a compelling.
I didn't come from a family situation where I could just take a few months off. And that was a blessing. Just get up, keep going.
As you were saying, because I asked you, I remember asking you, how did you deal with it? And you said, well, I had some purpose that I had a job. I could sit and have a pity party, and I did for a little while, as you said, but mostly you just had to get on.
Yeah, I'm pro pity party.
Yeah.
But it's got to have a start and a finish. you've got to get back up again.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but like.
But it helps. It's a big.
Yeah, and I think you're fortunate if you actually have to get up and you have to go to work, or you have to do what you have to do.
That's a great way of looking at it. If you're fortunate if you've got to go to work, because that's a way of coping with.
Yes.
A downtime in your life.
And go to work and
you don't have
be
the luxury
of
indulging in
No.
the emotions that are getting you down. Yeah.
No.
That's a very positive way of looking at it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you immersed yourself in a new job because you had left the second. And tell us about that.
I went, had some training, and then went and worked for a surveying equipment and engineering equipment company. So they were supplying mining companies and surveying companies and engineering companies. Yeah.
And is that where you met?
Yes, I met an amazing man who was the first male feminist that I met, and he just believed I could do whatever I put my mind to, and he was marvelous. So by the time I finished there, I was the assistant manager.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just, and even though I didn't have qualifications in that area, I did it all, and that's how I got into IT.
So that's a stark contrast from having women as your bosses who were putting you down, and then you go to this place and there's a man over there who's a feminist and gives you this platform to shine.
Yeah, it was just amazing, and it was just an incredible space, and they're an incredible company.
Yeah,
and everything that new came along, I just learn it and thrive in it. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's good to hear there are good men around like that are pro women, and there are more, I think, than we give credit for.
I think there is. I think there's some men, and I had a 20-year career in IT, and I had plenty of men that were really allies and really supportive, and I feel very fortunate to have worked in IT because it was a little bit like Star Trek. No one cared, male, female, Indigenous, non-Indigenous, immigrant, it was just a space where if you could do the work, you were valuable.
So good.
And we worked alongside each other. And
gender didn't matter.
No, it really didn't matter as long as you could get the work done. Mm-hmm. No one was caring because they were so scarce. People with IT experience, they were really valuable, well paid. And you got to travel and do lots of exciting things.
And you did that for 20 years?
Yeah, ended up running technical teams, and then after that, running my own business, just my own little consulting business.
And then, how did you meet your husband?
Well, I went to primary school with him, and then I went to high school with him, but I didn't really know him I just knew him to maybe just nod my head if I saw him somewhere.
So this is your first husband?
This is my second husband.
Oh, your second husband, sorry, yes.
So I didn't really know him. But I knew of him.
Yeah.
And he knew of me.
So this is the love story part.
And this is the love story. And we met back up again at a girlfriend's
Now, how old
party.
were you about this time?
24. And I'd just gone backpacking around Australia for 8 months and came back to Brisbane.
And I remember you saying that you met him, you went to help your friend.
Yeah.
Tell us, give us the juicy bit of how you met him and what he said and all of that.
Well, I said to my girlfriend, she was throwing an engagement party for our mutual friends, and she said, come and help me like in the kitchen. And I said, okay. And I said, I don't have any nice clothes because I'm still living out of a backpack. And she said, it's okay. And so I was just kind of slipping out of the kitchen and putting food out. And Stephen said to our now mutual friend, but his best friend, I'm going to marry her.
Just like that?
Yep. None of us really know why it came out of his mouth, but apparently I'm going to marry her. Yeah. So, and he was persistent. And we did start dating and we've been together. It's nearly 40 years. Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing when somebody knows something like that immediately and you're so sure. And then I remember you saying even you felt quite sure. It was quite...
Very early on, he was persistent and I didn't really want to date anybody. And then he...
Oh, this was yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I started dating him, and I think within 6 months we'd bought a house together, and within 3 months his mum was saying, why are you both so sure? And we just went, we just are.
Yeah.
We just are.
Yeah. It's one of those things, you just know it.
It's been easy and beautiful, and I wish everybody had it. It's
and you
been
were saying
lovely.
something about your home, about your
yes. So very early on, we decided that our home was going to be a haven, and it's a safe place. So everybody's included, everybody's cared about. You're safe.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's been a really good.
It's like setting a context.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And they say, I mean, I've heard this line. They say context is decisive. You know, if you set the right context, everything flows from there.
Yes.
You know? And your context was my home is a haven.
Yes.
So anything that happens at that home has got to contribute to making it a haven.
Yes.
That's
so
beautiful.
it's a safe place. When something goes wrong, you can just say what's gone wrong or and that's not to say there's never an argument, but they're rare.
Yes.
They're rare because you're trying to understand the other person. You're trying to make it safe for them.
Beautiful. You can write a book on that.
Yes.
I think it's much needed today. And then I know this is a heavy part, but would you like to share with us about your children and how that all came about?
Okay, so we were together a few years. I went on another long trip, went around the world on my own for 8 or 9 months. Stephen met me, came back and said, well, I was now 30, so it's time to have children. I said...
No, but before that, he kept asking you to get married.
Oh, well, he did. He used to keep asking, and this is in Trent's love stories. He would just stand up and announce, like ask me, Lisa, will you marry me? And I was like, no. Like, this is weird. This is not how you ask people. and I'd already been married once. And that hadn't worked out, and and my parents' marriage hadn't worked out, and I had just decided that if you're not good at something, don't keep doing it. So I was like, no. And I didn't just say no, I actually said nah. And that's in Trent's book, and then it also went into the play, that I said nah, because it was, and it was a lot of being a bit shy and embarrassed, and this person's doing this very public thing.
Oh, he would do it publicly?
He would do it publicly. That's what was, like Yes, and I think he just thought that I would relent. But, I kind of later was sorry I hadn't said yes, because as our story unfurled, potentially would have made my life easier. So when I came back from backpacking at 30, we kind of went, well, it's kind of now for kids, and we did want children. But my initial was I'd really love to adopt. And I suppose I've always had that. I was brought up in a Christian family with Lent boxes, and like it wasn't logical to me. Obviously, with an IT background, logical is kind of my way of thinking. It wasn't logical to go and make new children if there were children in the world that needed to be loved and to be cared for. So that was in my heart. And Stephen didn't say no. What he said is, let's have one of our own, which is what people say.
Yeah.
Their adopted children are also your own, but yes. And I said no. And he said, yeah, we'll adopt. And I was like, oh, okay, kind of thing. Whether that was just to put me off, I don't know. But it turned out that that's where our path went, because then we found out that Stephen was azoospermic, and we then did IVF because adoption was presented as an extremely difficult path, and we couldn't even apply because
So what is azoospermic?
Azoospermic, yes, good question, is no sperm at all. And it's a complication from having undescended testes. And it's more common than people think it is.
Right.
And male infertility is more common than people think it is. So we have, in society, women tend to get the blame, if that's how we call it, how we're expressing it. But it can be both. It can be unexplained infertility, but in our case, that's what it was. And unfortunately, I was overdosed on a drug that then took my fertility as well.
Goodness.
So it was a very difficult time, and it was particularly difficult because I really wanted to adopt, and I was doing this horrible IVF, which was be very kind.
So how long
to
did you
anybody
spend
who's
trying
doing that.
to do IVF and have
About 22 months, but it was a very long 22 months.
And from the little that I know, it's a very challenging, trying, emotionally draining, all of that.
Yeah, think of cancer treatment. My husband always says he had the cancer, but I got the chemo. Yeah, and I think that's probably a pretty accurate way of putting it. And the Jews describe it as a form of living death. So, be gentle with those people that are facing infertility. It's a very complex thing, and it puts you through a lot. The drugs put you through a lot. There's a lot of financial expense. I'm told that the women are treated better now, but when I went through, we weren't particularly well treated by the medical staff. The medical staff, people were a bit heartless. Again, a little bit of kindness would have been much, much better. But I am told that the treatments are not quite as harsh. I like to think that. I do like to think that it's a little bit easier. But please be very kind to those people, because unless you've experienced it, it's really a heart-wrenching thing. I always say to people, it's like Lion King had come out at that time, and it's like you're not a part of the circle of life. Yeah. But, attitudes have changed. People can be child-free, not childless. But for some people, like Stephen and I, we so wanted children. And
well, you've got this loving relationship between the two of you. You've got a haven to bring children into.
Yeah.
And then you're faced with this situation where you can't have your own children. However, you did have an intention to adopt. So,
yes, we did.
First of all, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very and being open with our audience. And it's an important thing to share, because a lot of people, as you say, go through it and they don't take, like, infertility is not taken as sensitively and it's not as open a conversation.
Well,
out
I
there.
think unless you've known someone who's gone through it, like I also get people who've gone through it and like they just hug you.
Yes, you told me about. Tell us about that because that's such an appropriate response.
I met this quite a few, not that long ago, about 8 years ago. I met this very nice lady who had been in the IVF area as a drug supplier for a long time, right from before I was in it. And when she found out the period I was in it, she just hugged me and said, "I'm sorry for what was done to you ladies." So she was, it surprised me. She was very much aware of how hard it was to go through in that time. Yeah.
And there's no consoling as such. A hug is probably the most appropriate response.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say and do.
She didn't even ask. She just hugged me and said, "I'm so
that's
sorry.
huge.
It's got better." She did tell me, and I said, "That makes me feel a lot better."
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a great response. Just to
100%.
put your arms around someone.
Yeah, it's like when somebody, a close family member, passes away. There's nothing you can say or do to make them feel better. Best thing you can do is just hold them, and be silent. Yeah,
I think there's lots of situations where words don't
cannot
really work.
Correct. Yeah. And then you decided to do what?
We decided to adopt.
Yes.
So
Take us on that journey. That's
that was so we had to get married. I cried through the whole ceremony.
odd. So now you had to get married.
Yes, and I had to get married.
Stephen would have been delighted.
No, I think he was confused because I cried.
Right.
And I must add, I'm not really a crier, so I'm saying I'm crying a lot, but I'm not really a crier. Anyway, we couldn't even apply without getting married, even though our chosen country was Ethiopia and they didn't require us to be married.
Right.
So the laws in
Why
Queensland.
Ethiopia?
Oh, so many reasons. Well, my husband is an African. He's a born Rhodesian, identifies as a Zimbabwean, and moved here when he was 4. But it's such an interesting place and such a beautiful place. But most importantly, the program was all about caring for their children and making a good thing out of a bad situation. So I'm very attracted to lemonade from lemon in life because life isn't perfect, but making lemonade out of it, doing the best. And it was a very child-focused program. So it was all about the children. The Ethiopian adoption program was very child-focused.
What do you mean?
It was about the children. So when the Ethiopian authorities looked at allocating a child to a family, they would look across the whole pool and they would pray on it, but they would look and think, what is going to be good for this child?
Oh, how beautiful.
For this child. And they said, I met some of the people who did that work and they said, but it's always up to God. We pray that we are getting it right, kind of thing. So it was really
mindfully placed.
all about getting it right for that child. And that I felt that was very heartening. And the other thing that was very appealing was that they placed sibling groups together. They didn't split families. They listened to the research around it, and it's considered the longest and most important relationship of your life, your siblings. So they adjusted their program and siblings were available. And this end you had to be assessed to a higher standards, but we were fortunate enough to get through that and we got 2 little girls. Under 1 and under 2, very little girls. But it meant that they could be together and they're still together. They're still inseparable.
And what are their names?
Gadam and Tarek.
And how old are they today?
28 and 27.
Wow.
They're grown up now and they're Irish twins. They're only 10 months apart, so They're very close in age and time and space. And
So sisters.
yeah, there's
biological sisters.
very close sisters. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went from not having any children to getting us twins.
Yes, very busy but very happy.
Yes, yes. And
And-
how was that? How was that for y'all?
Oh, look, for us,
Did
it
they
was,
have like a support? I mean, you're bringing
Yeah.
children from another culture.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. Yes, you said
at
your
that
husband
time
was
we had a very active adoption community, and we were
here in Australia.
in Australia, and we provided a lot of support for each other, a lot of training, a lot of discussion, a lot of community play groups, big celebrations. So we're extremely active groups in those years, and my children really benefited from that. And then we took upon our own initiatives. So I ran a Ethiopian dance group for 15 years where the adopted kids could come and learn to dance.
Wow. So you immersed yourself in the culture.
Oh, yeah. And I think
yeah.
that was the greatest gift.
Yes.
Was to fall so deeply in love with a place because it had given you everything you ever wanted. And then all the Ethiopian friends that I've made and all the adoption friends, we all still get together. There's a tremendous amount of connection and love, and also just immersing yourself in another culture and understanding that every culture has
Yes.
some amazing things. And it's very interesting because over the years we have found all of our children's family, and they have taken on some Australian culture.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because they see things that we do better and
Yes.
differently.
Yes. And
So-
that's the whole breaking down cultural barriers.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's
And loving people and feeling thankful for people that you might not have met if these bad things. Again, our families in Ethiopia have made lemonade out of lemons instead of, we're not the people who took their children away. We're the people who loved their children and brought their children back. And we're just the red family because they don't call us white. They call us red.
Really? Why red?
Because when you haven't seen white people for a long time, we look like rabbits, like little white rabbits. And so they call us red. We're the red family when we just happen to live in Australia. So
And then you said you also so you've got 4 children.
yes,
So first 2 girls,
yes.
and how long before you adopted the boys?
And 4 years for the first boy. And
so how old were the girls? About 6-ish or something?
yeah, so they would have been, when we adopted Yared, they would have been, 5 and 6
Right.
when we took custody of him.
And how did the boy, how did that happen?
We, at the time, there was some political issues with them trying to close adoption in Queensland, and we got caught up in supporting that and put an application in, partially because we could. It was only like $17.50 or something crazy like that.
To adopt a child?
Yeah, to start the process.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive than
But
that,
what made you
obviously.
want to get, like you had 2 girls and then you just wanted a big family, or what was
We'd
the...
become aware that there were less people applying for little boys.
Right.
And we'd fallen, and by the time we'd picked up the girls and gone back, we'd been to Ethiopia 3 times, and we were aware of the need, and we were aware of the implications for a child born into not just poverty, and people think it's all about poverty. In Ethiopia, it's a very serious thing to be born out of wedlock,
Right.
and it marks you in society for the rest of your life. So when one of the grandmas said to me, and I didn't understand it at the time, I do now, but she said when she first met us, when we picked up Yared, we were lucky enough to meet the family. And she said to me, "Since to us, all my prayers answered, all my dreams come true. Yared has a father." And I was like, "But what about me?" because, I'm human.
Yes.
And I later realised that a person without a father in that culture, it's a serious thing. So he got a father. Yeah, and that was very, very important. Yeah, and he now works as a jeweler for his father.
Wow.
So they have a very special relationship. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. So so I think that there's the social implications. So that's what we saw. And we had the girls and we were so happy, but you kind of look and go, we could do this again.
Yes,
it's not easy,
yes.
but we could do this again. Yeah.
So you bring Jared back, and then I remember you saying that the guy, the taxi driver or the guide or what?
So when we meant to meet Jared's family, we were so lucky. 3 days after we took custody,
This is in Ethiopia.
Yeah, in Ethiopia, we were offered to meet the grandmother. No, we were told, it is arranged. Sorry, what's arranged? You will meet the grandmother and the auntie, because we'd always said if there's family, we'd like to know family.
Yes.
And we were probably one of the first Ethiopian Australian families that did that. But Australians have been extraordinarily eager to have contact with their Ethiopian families and support their Ethiopian families. So it's a very, very beautiful part of our culture, that wanting to support. Connect and support, and our children benefit. So my children know their whole story, their real story.
That's amazing.
They know all the characters.
Oh, I love that, because you often hear of adoptions, and I know somebody personally who didn't. I mean, that story of Lion, for example, the movie The Lion.
Yeah,
and that's typical in India as well. Children get adopted, but they never ever get to find out who their biological parents are.
Yes, because the children come to the system because of tragedy.
Yes, and they're just kind of given away, but. It's beautiful that here they're given away mindfully, but they want to connect with, or they make it a point to connect with the family,
And I've been lucky enough to meet the lion.
Yeah.
And his,
have you?
And his birth mum and his adopted mum.
Oh, wow.
And
what a story that was.
Oh, and just like it is in the movie, I know this is not what people would think, but the birth mum and the adopted mum end up very close. And when I met them, they were...
You met the birth mum too?
Yeah. And they were cuddled up together like the best of friends.
How did that happen? How did you?
Because I became active politically. Right. So I've spent about 20 years of my life trying to improve the foster care system in Queensland, because it breaks my heart that those children often don't end up with a family. They're pulled out of a desperate situation, but they don't necessarily end up with a family that wraps around them, and at 18 they're out of the system.
Yes.
And they end up wandering the rest of their lives without family. And I'm sure everybody, like I've got a 19-year-old at the moment who really needs his family. And like the thought of someone wandering through life and not having that connection breaks my heart. And we have a system that's usually the case.
Yes.
And we have very high suicide rate in these young people. It's a real tragedy. And I've worked on legislation, just always
You're amazing, Lisa.
Yeah. Always as we don't take. Well, I run an organisation with my close friend called Quack, and we don't take any funding, so we stay independent because you need to be.
What's the organisation?
Quack, Queensland Alliance for Kids. We're on Facebook.
And what do you do?
We advocate for permanency for children, however that comes. Doesn't have to be adoption. We got involved in created with the help of others an order called a permanent care order. Which is
Pajama Angels. Have you heard of Pajama Angels?
What they do is, they try and support kids in the care system, but what we do is advocacy, because they might have up to 10 or 20 placements, end up not even in a family, end up in residential care. The system is broken. And we're seeing it all over the news at the moment, but we've been trying to help for 20 years. And
So it's having that constant contact with some family if possible. Yeah.
And having someone that
because it's important to know your roots, even though you may not,
Yeah, and like just because your biological family couldn't provide that, not because they're bad, not because they're just because of their own circumstances, that child shouldn't be then removed and never given some kind of family. Yeah. People, we are
so important.
We need that connection. And especially, and we don't stop needing that when we turn 18. We need 100%, a family for life.
And even more when it's a completely different culture, like Ethiopian. You can't bring a Ethiopian here and raise them as a white person and then not have any, like, cut off completely. So
no, because it's like they're now starting to prove it, that we carry culture in our DNA. It's in our bones. And we need access to our culture. And it's a beautiful and pleasurable thing. We cook Ethiopian food. It connects us up. And as I said, I've met so many amazing, thank you to all the Ethiopians, Australians who've helped us provide culture, helped us with language and just including us. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It enriches your own life. Learning about another culture, especially the culture of your children.
Yeah, I now use it, but one of my friends, his son's Sri Lankan, he says my culture is multi.
Oh,
that's my culture too.
Oh, I love
that. My culture is multi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we cannot miss out not hearing about your fourth son or your fourth child. So tell us how that happened.
Okay, this one's a hard one, but we adopted his big brother. He wasn't even alive. He was then conceived, and his birth mum was unable to care for him. And because, again, it's not always about money. At this stage, we were supporting the family. But it was a 3-year battle. We were given...
But how did it happen? So you had 2 girls and...
We had the 3. So we had the girls and Yared. And then we'd stayed in contact with Yared's family. And when we were in Ethiopia visiting, they asked us to take the little brother, and we just said it doesn't work like that. And I actually said, hell no, you don't know what they'll do to us.
Or if you just bring him here kind of thing.
Oh, that's not possible.
Yeah. No, but you said that you were on the driveway and you got this letter.
When I first found out about him, I'd received a letter because we wrote regularly. Yeah. Now it's easier, it's WhatsApp and email. But in those days, we used to have to number the letters because letters would go missing. Anyway, I was opening up the letter. I'm a naturally impatient person. Hadn't even walking up the driveway. This photo of this little boy falls out, and I went, "Oh, it's another photo of Yared. Thank you, family." And then I realised it wasn't Yared; it was another child. And I read the letter, and he'd been born, and things weren't going very well.
So this is his family sending you a picture of a new brother,
of a new child, kind of thing, and I was heartbroken because but when you adopt a child, you're hoping that the birth mum will, I don't know, that she'll get another life, that that things will smooth out for her and the social pressure she's under will dissipate. But unfortunately that wasn't to be. And
so then you go back to Ethiopia.
Yeah, and the family really beg us to take him, and I'll be honest, we said no because we knew that the Australian authorities would give us a very, very hard time, and they did. And
so how did you manage to get? What's the youngest boy's name?
A mentee.
How did you manage to get a mentee?
Oh, we just didn't give up. I was told that it wouldn't happen, but I fought it all through. We tried immigration rather than adoption, and I fought it all the way through and got a recommendation from the Migration Tribunal for lenience from the minister, which I was told I would never get.
Why was there so much opposition? This is the blood brother of the boy you have.
It's It's this feeling that somehow you're jumping the queue or
Right.
you've had some unfair advantage. And I had a very senior person ring me and say, I will never let the minister even see this. Even though there was a recommendation for leniency, he said, I will make sure personally the minister never sees it. And I said, why? He said, oh, we're well aware of your family and what you've done for your community and that you guys are not doing anything wrong. He said, I've just seen child trafficking and I've got to take it out on someone.
Wow.
That was the most bizarre conversation I've ever had with a person, but I can't get the people who do the wrong thing, so I'm going to get somebody who's
That's crazy.
trying to do the right thing. So he nearly died 4 times in that 3 years.
The baby?
Yeah, the little fella. Anyway, one day we went to get him. Yeah, and I think we're probably the only family in the world where the biological father of my daughters drove us to the court.
That's amazing.
He drove us
This
to
is
the court
for a mentee.
for the final court date. Yeah, he drove us to the court and said, I just can't stand to watch anything more go wrong. He said, this has just been horrible. It was horrible. And I think
So what was the court case about? What is
that's just the adoption being finalised legal. It's all done very legally in the Ethiopian system.
So this was in Ethiopia or Australia?
This was in Ethiopia. So he was in Ethiopia all that time, really struggling health-wise. Some really bad stuff happened. When we picked him up, the family said, just go home. We love you, but just go home. Because they said he's just been so fragile, this child. We just need you to get him home and get him safe.
So when you said there were problems with the child trafficking, that was in Ethiopia? Or?
Just around the world.
Yes.
I mean, look, unfortunately we have a very, I'm sure you're aware, but slavery is at an all-time high. And child trafficking and trafficking of human beings is at an all-time high because it is easier than it's ever been to move a human being. So we always must be vigilant. These are not a commodity. This is a human being. I will never be against any form of assessment, any form of stopping anybody doing the wrong thing. But when someone is actually trying to do the right thing, they just wanted to make an example
Everybody
of
gets
us.
put into the same bucket kind of thing.
I don't know. I'll never really understand. I love my country, but I know that we're not as nice as our governments aren't as nice as our people are. And it was made, like the lawyer that we eventually employed in Ethiopia, he said to me, I want you to understand that the reason Ethiopia did not relinquish this child is they did not trust the Australian government.
Wow.
And within 6 months, the program was closed. And
The adoption program from Ethiopia to here.
Australia closed it, and they closed it with 9 children in legal limbo. Imagine getting that close to getting to Australia and 9 children got left in a legal bind because
So you were one of the lucky.
we were so
one of the
lucky.
lucky ones.
He was so lucky. We think he was the 6th last child to be adopted. Yeah.
So you've now got 2
Yeah.
sisters and 2 brothers.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And how old are they all now?
28, 27, just about to turn 24 and 19.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's to see you've got a complete family.
Yeah, a big, happy family both here and in Ethiopia. And, very, very fortunate. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Very
That's
fortunate.
That's absolutely amazing. And if I had to
Gorgeous
ask you
kids.
one thing that you've, I think we've got
How,
an
yeah,
amazing, I don't know how we're going for
how
time,
we
but I
going for
think, yes, I
time?
think we're done.
Yeah.
But if you had to share one thing that you've learned from your life, what would that be?
Okay. It's my quote from Love Stories. And it is, love makes you a mountaineer.
Love makes you a mountaineer.
Yes. Because you'll never know what you're capable of doing until you need to do something for love.
Wow.
Yeah, and how hard you'll fight and what you'll do. Yeah, so love makes you a mountaineer.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lisa. That's absolutely beautiful. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you
getting
for your
to know
time.
you. And one of my favorite quotes, and this is the last episode, 25 of Your Neighborhood Show in this series, is if you don't like somebody, try and get to know them better. Because when you do, not that I didn't like you, but like we often don't like some person and because of a quick interaction with them. But I've gotten to know you in the last 2-3 hours and I'm like astounded. Like if I met you at a party, I would not know this whole background. You know what I mean? And it's just, you're such an amazing human.
Yeah, most people
and
are.
I'm so glad.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it's the things that get put in your path.
Yes.
That, you know, like all that child advocacy, it's so hard, it's worn me out.
Yes.
But what a privilege to know that needs to be done and
Yes.
to be able to put
Or gave
that
you
time
purpose
in.
and still
Yes.
does possibly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, well,
yes.
there's more work. Yes.
Well, thank you again. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you and get to know you, Lisa.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. And so that's it for Your Neighborhood Show in this series. I hope you've liked the last 25 stories that we've shared of some amazing human beings. If you liked this one, put a like, put a comment, and share it with your friends. And we'll see you in the next series. Thank you.